hope all of you are always healthy. So today I would like to share with you a topic that is related to my previous topic. It is about an international organization that actually has set up SDGs 2030 as the global goals. Then my second reason is because of this. We often see this from news during this pandemic, right? So, what is WHO? WHO, or World Health Organization, is one of specialist agencies in the United Nations. But I will explain more about WHO later. Now, I would like to explain the United Nations first. So, what is the United Nations? The United Nations is an international organization set up to maintain world peace and address world's economic, social, international laws, and other issues so that world can be a better place to live. The United Nations is formed on October the 24th, 1945 with 193 members. It has 6 official languages. There are Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. It is headquartered in New York City on international territory, with its other main offices in Geneva, Vienna, and The Hague. So, why did the United Nations form? The main purposes of the United Nations are 1. Maintaining world peace and security. 2. Promoting and encouraging brotherly relation among nations through respect for human rights. 3. Fostering international cooperation in economic, social, cultural, and environmental development. 4. Being the center for harmonizing all joint actions against countries that endanger world peace. 5. Providing humanitarian assistance in case of famine, natural disasters, and armed conflicts. Now, let's move to the history of the United Nations. How did the United Nations form? League of Nations is an organization that was formed in 1920 to keep peace throughout the world, but it failed to prevent World War II. So, President of the United States Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill initiated a meeting that resulted in an agreement called the Atlantic Charter. Then it became a reference to form a new organization, which is called the United Nations. Franklin D. Roosevelt first coined the term United Nations to describe the elite countries. So, the United Nations was formulated and negotiated among the delegation from the elite Big Four: the United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and China, at the Dumbarton Oaks Conference from September the 21st, 1944 to October the 7th, 1944, and they agreed on the aims, structure, and functioning of the United Nations. After months of planning, the United Nations Conference on International Organization opened in San Francisco, April the 25th, 1945, attended by 50 governments and many non-governmental organizations involved in drafting the United Nations Charter. UN Charter was signed by 51 member states of the United Nations on June the 26th, 1945. The United Nations officially came into existence on October the 24th, 1945, upon ratification of the Charter by 5 permanent members of the Security Council: the United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and the Republic of China. The United Nations established 6 principal organs of the organization. First, the General Assembly. Second, the Security Council. Third, the Economic and Social Council. Fourth, the Secretariat. Fifth, the International Court of Justice. And sixth, the Trusteeship Council. First, the General Assembly. The General Assembly is serving as the main deliberative, policy-making, and representative organs of the United Nations. It is responsible for 1. The United Nations budget, 2. Promoting international cooperation in the economic, social, cultural, educational, and health fields, 3. Assisting in the realization of human rights, 4. Appointing the non-permanent members to the Security Council, 5. Appointing the Secretary General of the United Nations, 6. Receiving reports from other parts of the UN system. The General Assembly meets in annual sessions at UN headquarters in New York City. The main part of these meetings generally run from September to part of January until all issues are addressed. It can also reconvene for special and emergency special session. The first session of General Assembly convened on January the 10th, 1946 in the Methodist Centre Hall, London, with 51 countries represented. Second, the Security Council. The Security Council, charged with ensuring international peace and security, recommending the admission of new UN members to the General Assembly, and approving any changes to the UN Charter. Its powers include establishing peacekeeping operations, enacting international sanctions, and authorizing military actions. The Security Council is the only UN body with authority to issue binding resolutions on member states. The Security Council has several duties and authorities set out in the UN Charter as follows. The Security Council consists of 15 members, of which 5 are permanent: China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. 5 permanent members hold veto power over UN resolutions, allowing a permanent member to block adoption of a resolution, though not debate. The remaining 10 members are elected on a regional basis to serve a term of 2 years, and the body's presidency rotates monthly among its members. Third, the Economic and Social Council, or ECOSOC. ECOSOC connects a diverse family of the United Nations entities dedicated to sustainable development and providing overall guidance and coordination. Entities include regional economic and social commissions, functional commissions, facilitating intergovernmental discussions on major global issues and specialist agencies, programs, and funds at the workplace around the world to translate development commitments into real change in people's lives. It has 54 members that is elected by the General Assembly for 3-year terms. The President is elected for 1-year term and chosen among the small or middle powers represented ECOSOC. The Council has one annual meeting in July held in either New York City or Geneva. Duties of the Economic and Social Council are 1. Making inquiries and compiling reports on economic, social, educational, and health issues worldwide. 2. Making an agreement plan on the matter with the member states to be submitted to the General Assembly. 3. Holding international meetings on matters including his duties and authority. 4. The Secretariat. The Secretariat is one of the main bodies of the United Nations headed by the Secretary General. The Secretary General is the Chief Administrative Officer of the United Nations who is appointed by the General Assembly. The current Secretary General is Antonio Guterres from Portugal. He took office on January the 1st, 2017. The role of the Secretary General is described as combining function and responsibilities of an advocate, diplomat, civil servant, and CEO. The main functions of the Secretariat and the Secretary General are: Fifth, the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice is the main judicial body of the United Nations and known as the World Court. This is the only one that is not located in New York. It is based in the Peace Palace in The Hague. It was established in 1945, and the official languages of the court are English and French. The ICJ is composed of 15 judges who serve 9-year terms and are appointed by the General Assembly and the Security Council. Every sitting judge must be from a different nation. The International Court of Justice is the only international court that adjudicates general disputes among countries, with its rulings and opinions serving as primary sources of international law. The court's role is to settle by international law legal disputes submitted to it by states, and give advisory opinion on legal questions referred to it by authorized United Nations organs and specialist agencies. And the court decides disputes between countries based on the voluntary participation of the states concerned. If a state agrees to participate in a proceeding, it is obligated to comply with the court's decision. Sixth, the Trusteeship Council. The Trusteeship Council, established to ensure that trust territories were administered in the best interests of their inhabitants and of international peace and security. But the Trusteeship Council suspended its operation on November the 1st, 1994, when Palau, the last territory, attained independence. The United Nations Charter stipulates that each primary organ of the United Nations can establish various specialist agencies to fulfill its duties. The UN performs most of its humanitarian works through these agencies. Specialist agencies is an international organization established by the organs to help them in achieving their aims and financed by both voluntary contributions and assessment contributions. The General Assembly approves the regular budget and determines the assessment for each member. This is broadly based on the relative capacity of each country to pay, as measured by its gross national income or GNI, with adjustments for external debt and low per capita income. The United Nations has also concluded cooperation agreements with other intergovernmental organizations, but because of the requirements of the United Nations Charter that are related to the economy, social, culture, education, health, and related fields, this organization is not part of specialist agencies. These organizations are termed related organizations by the United Nations. Then, the main organ also creates other bodies, other entities, research and training, regional commissions, funds, and programs. All of them are called United Nations systems. But today, I will share only specialist agencies and related organizations of the United Nations. First, specialist agencies. Number 1, FAO. FAO, or Food and Agriculture Organization, leads international efforts to defeat hunger and improve nutrition and food security. It was formed in October 1945 and it is headquartered in Rome, Italy. It composed of 197 member states. The regular program budget is funded by its members through contributions set at the FAO conference. FAO has outlined the following priorities in its fight against hunger. 1. Help eliminate hunger, malnutrition, and food insecurity. 2. Make agriculture, forestry, and fisheries more productive and sustainable. 3. Reduce rural poverty. 4. Enable inclusive and efficient agricultural and food. 5. Increase the resilience of livelihoods to threats and crises. Number 2, ICAO. ICAO, or International Civil Aviation Organization, develops the principles and techniques of international air navigation and sets international standards and procedure for safety and security flight. It has 193 members and its headquarters is located in Quartier International of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The ICAO Council adopts standards and recommended practices concerning air navigation, its infrastructure, flight inspection, prevention of unlawful interference, and facilitation of border crossing procedures for international civil aviation. Number 3, IFAD, or the International Fund for Agricultural Development. IFAD is an international financial institution and a specialist agency of the United Nations that works to address poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. It funds and sponsors initiatives that improve land and water management, develop rural infrastructure, train and educate farmers in more efficient technologies, build up resilience against climate change, enhancing market accessibility, and more. It has 177 members and it was established in 1977 and its headquarters is in Rome, Italy. Number 4, ILO. ILO, or International Labour Organization, is the representative of the United Nations agency that deals with international labor issues or international labor according to international standards, social protection and employment opportunities for all people. It has 187 members and was founded in 1919. Its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. The International Labour Organization sets labor standards, develops policies, and devises programs promoting decent work for all women and men. The ILO's international labor standards are broadly aimed at ensuring accessible, productive, and sustainable work worldwide in conditions of freedom, equity, security, and dignity. Number 5, IMO. IMO, or International Maritime Organization, is an international organization that regulates all shipping, especially regulation concerns the safety and prevention of environmental pollution at sea. It was established in 1982 and it was known as the International Maritime Consultative Organization, or IMCO. It has 174 member states and is headquartered in London, United Kingdom. The primary purpose of IMO is to develop and maintain a comprehensive regulatory framework for shipping, and its remit today include safety, environmental concerns, legal matters, technical cooperation, maritime security, and the efficiency of shipping. Number 6, IMF. IMF, or International Monetary Fund, is an international organization that regulates international financial system and also provide loans to countries that are needed. The history of IMF began when it was first established on September the 27th, 1945, as part of an effort to repair damage to the international economy due to World War II. IMF is currently based in Washington, D.C., United States. The purpose of IMF is to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth and reduce poverty around the world while periodically depending on the World Bank for its resources. Number 7. ITU. ITU, or International Telecommunication Union, is an international organization that is established to standardize and regulate international radio and telecommunications. It was founded as the International Telegraph Union in Paris on May 17, 1865. It has 193 member states and it is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Its main objectives include standardizing, allocating radio spectrum, and organizing interconnection chain agreements between different countries to enable international telephone calls. Number 8. UNESCO. UNESCO, or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, is an international organization that deals with all matters relating to education, science, and culture to increase mutual respect based on justice, the rule of law, and human rights. It has 193 member states, and UNESCO was founded on November the 4th, 1946 in the city of Paris, France. UNESCO implements its activities through 5 program areas: education, natural science, social and human science, culture, and communication and information. Its main task is to be able to support peace and security by promoting cooperation among countries through science, education, and culture to increase mutual respect based on justice, human rights, and the rule of law, as well as essential freedoms. The purposes of UNESCO are 1. Increasing cooperation among countries in the world in the fields of education, science, and culture. 2. Carrying out activities to eradicate illiteracy as well as learning obligation for all people of member countries. Number 3. Lifting the dignity and degree of human life. Number 9. UNIDO. UNIDO, or United Nations Industrial Development Organization, is a special UN agency established to promote and accelerate industrial development in developing countries and countries that are in economic transition, as well as to promote international industrial cooperation. UNIDO is a member of the United Nations Development Group, a coalition of UN entities aimed at fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals. UNIDO was established as a UN program in 1966 with headquarters in Vienna, Austria, and became a specialist agency of the United Nations in 1985. As per April 2019, UNIDO has 170 member states. Number 10. UNWTO. UNWTO, or United Nations World Tourism Organization, is an organization from the United Nations in charge of dealing with tourism issues. It is headquartered in Madrid, Spain. They also make the World Tourism Ranking. UNWTO was established in 1974 and has 160 member states. The main objective of UNWTO is to promote and develop tourism as a contributor to economic development, international understanding, peace, universal prosperity, human rights, and basic freedoms for all regardless of differences in race, sex, language, and religion. Number 11. UPU. UPU, or Universal Postal Union, is a specialist agency of the United Nations that coordinates postal policies among member nations in addition to worldwide postal system. The United Nations has designated October the 9th as World Post Day. This commemoration was preceded by the establishment of the Universal Post Union in 1874 in the capital of Switzerland, Bern. The celebration was later declared World Post Day by UPU Congress, which was held in Tokyo, Japan in 1969. Since then, countries around the world have participated every year in this celebration. UPU has 192 member states and headquartered in Bern, Switzerland. The duties of UPU are 1. Overseeing the performance of international shipments, 2. Stimulates an increase in letters, 3. Arranging international shipping of goods to member countries, 4. Improving the quality of delivery services to customers. Number 12. WHO. WHO, or World Health Organization, is the United Nations agency that acts as an international public health coordinator. WHO is based in Geneva, Switzerland, and founded by the United Nations on April 7, 1948. It has 194 countries in six regions and more than 150 offices. WHO staffs are united in a shared commitment to achieving better health for all people everywhere. The duties of the WHO are 1. Overcoming health by helping or implementing restrictions against infectious disease, 2. Providing health assistance to countries that need assistance, 3. Helping in improving the welfare and health of mother and children, 4. Encouraging and also help to conduct research related to the health sector. The objectives of WHO are 1. To ensure that all people are guaranteed health on a universal scale, 2. To protect more than 1 billion people for health emergencies, 3. To provide better health and well-being. The problems that are addressed by WHO are 1. Prevention of communicable disease, 2. Promotion of mental health, 3. Climate change in developing countries and small islands, 4. Antimicrobial resistance, 5. Elimination and eradication of infectious diseases that are at high risk. Number 13. WIPO. WIPO, or World Intellectual Property Organization, is a specialist agency of the United Nations dedicated to encouraging creativity and introducing intellectual property protection in the form of invention, designs, creation, and trademark worldwide. WIPO was founded on July the 14th, 1967 and headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It currently has 193 member states. Number 14. WMO. WMO, or World Meteorological Organization, is a specialist agency of the United Nations responsible for promoting international cooperation on atmospheric science, climatology, hydrology, and geophysics. It is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. The duties of WMO are 1. To protect life and property from natural disasters. 2. To protect the environment. 3. To improve the socio-economic welfare of all sectors in food security, water resources, and transportation. Number 15. World Bank. World Bank is an international organization that provides financial support, advisory, and research to developing countries to advance their economies. It was established in 1944 and it is headquartered in Washington, D.C., United States. The World Bank has 5 interconnected institutions. Second, related organizations. 1. CTBTO. CTBTO, or Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organizations. CTBTO Preparatory Commission is an international organization based in Vienna, Austria, tasked with upholding the verification regime of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization. 2. IAEA. IAEA, or International Atomic Energy Agency, is an international organization that seeks to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy and to discourage its use for any military purposes, including nuclear weapons. Number 3. IOM. IOM, or International Organization for Migration, is the main intergovernmental organization in the field of migration. 4. OPCW. The Chemical Weapons Convention is an arms control treaty that prohibits the production, stockpiling, and use of chemical weapons. 5. WTO. WTO, or World Trade Organization, is an international organization devoted to regulating trade among countries. So, that's all information that I have shared with you about the United Nations. I do hope this information can be useful and help you guys know about the United Nations. I would like to apologize if I made some mistakes in my video. Thank you very much for watching this. I'm Henny. Goodbye.